Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into a topic usually seen as pretty scientific weight loss.
Right.
But there's this really profound human story underneath, which the author Dan Hollis brings out brilliantly.
He does.
He has this idea. Losing weight might be biology, okay, but staying there, that's narrative, that's story.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to explore what happens after the weight loss, going way beyond just the scale.
And that's really the core of this, isn't it? We're not just talking pounds or kilos.
No.
We're diving into, well, identity, emotions, how you actually build a whole new way of living.
Okay.
And we've looked at several sources that really shine a light on Dan Hollis's perspective here. It shifts the focus, from just shedding weight to understanding the person inside.
Yeah, I mean, we all know those before and after pictures, right?
Yeah.
The big success stories.
Okay, celebrate it.
We celebrate the transformation, but Hollis saw something else, something often hidden. He said, the weight came off, then I realized I had no idea who I was without it.
That hits hard, doesn't it?
It really does. Why do we celebrate the physical change but kind of ignore this void that can open up?
Exactly. And that void, Hollis gives it a name: identity grief.
Identity grief.
Yes, that feeling of disorientation. When your body changes so much, but your internal story, your sense of self, hasn't caught up yet.
Like your inner map is still old.
Precisely. Like you've moved into this amazing new house, but your internal GPS still points to the old address. And the celebrations, they often just steamroll right over this complex psychological stuff.
Leaving people feeling kind of adrift, even when they've succeeded.
Right. Even amidst all the congratulations.
Wow. Thinking of it as grief for an old self, that really changes things. And it's not just identity, is it? Hollis says hunger doesn't just disappear.
No, it shapeshifts.
Shapeshifts and what? Memory? Confusion?
Memory, confusion, sometimes just a weird kind of space. And he has this other insight. People don't relapse into hunger. They relapse into confusion.
Okay, unpack that. Relapsing into confusion, what does that mean?
Well, think about it. When those strong physical hunger pangs quiet down, maybe because of weight loss or medication, the old ways you coped with other feelings, using food, they're suddenly gone, or at least muffled.
Right.
So you feel something, maybe restlessness, sadness, boredom, but the usual answer, food, isn't the obvious go-to anymore. You're left confused about what you're feeling and what to do.
So you default back to the familiar pattern because you haven't learned a new response.
Exactly. You haven't learned to interpret those signals differently.
That makes so much sense. Which brings us to another key point Hollis makes. Telling the difference between physical and emotional hunger.
Yes, crucial.
He defines emotional hunger really powerfully. He says, emotional hunger sounds like a craving, but it's actually a question, a need asking to be seen.
That's such a great way to put it, a question.
So how do we usually get this wrong? How do we misread those questions?
All the time. We feel something uncomfortable and our brain just jumps to food. But that feeling might actually be tiredness.
Or loneliness.
Loneliness, definitely. Or just feeling overwhelmed, too much stimulation. But these are real needs.
But we've learned to just feed them.
We've learned to answer them with food, instead of actually addressing the feeling itself.
And for many people, food has been like emotional scaffolding, right? That reliable support structure.
Absolutely.
So when that scaffolding gets taken away, it's not just about feeling lighter physically. Hollis says, when food stops being your emotional scaffolding, you don't just feel lighter, you feel exposed.
Exposed, that's a strong word.
It is. Suddenly feeling vulnerable without that main comfort. But what I love about Hollis's view is he doesn't see this as weakness.
No.
He called it wisdom misdirected. Like your inner wisdom is trying to solve a problem, but just using the wrong tool.
Beautifully put. And that leads us right into thinking about tools like Semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, those names.
Right, the GLP-1s.
Exactly. Developed for type 2 diabetes, but now, well, known for causing significant weight loss.
So, given everything we've said about the psychological work, the narrative, does something like semaglutide just fix it?
Well, that's where Hollis offers a really crucial distinction.
Okay.
She says it's not the solution to the emotional eating itself. But, and this is key, it creates the opportunity for one.
How so?
His quote is, semaglutide isn't the solution to emotional eating, it's the silence that lets you find one.
The silence. What kind of silence is that?
It's the quieting of that constant biological noise, the cravings, the food chatter in your head.
Okay.
Imagine trying to hear a whisper in a really loud room. Semaglutide kind of turns down the volume on the biological hunger signal.
So you get space.
Exactly, mental and emotional space. And in that quiet, you can finally start to hear those underlying emotional needs, those questions we talked about.
The ones that were drowned out before.
Right. It's this unique chance to rebuild your identity, change behaviors, become more emotionally aware, to actually start furnishing that new internal house.
So, okay, you have this new space, this quiet where the cravings used to be. What does Hollis say you should do with it?
You don't just sit in it, he says. You build, you scaffold, you stitch new rituals into old routines.
Build, scaffold, stitch. It sounds very active, very intentional, like construction.
It absolutely is. And this is where support becomes
Oh,
non-negotiable.
right. Scaffolding again?
Yes. He calls support neurobiological scaffolding.
Hmm.
It's not optional.
Why neurobiological?
Because when that biological noise of hunger fades, other things can surface. Old stories, buried feelings.
The stuff you might have been eating over.
Precisely. And having support therapy groups, trusted friends, provides the structure to handle those rising truths without getting overwhelmed. It helps you process and integrate them.
Which connects to another powerful statement from Hollis. When the cravings stop, the truth begins.
That says it all, doesn't it?
It really does. The deep work starts when food isn't the explanation or the fix anymore.
Oh,
You have
yeah.
to face what's actually there.
And that ties into his whole approach. He offers tools, language, scaffolding, and narrative memory, practical things to help people, as he puts it, come home to themselves.
Coming home to yourself.
It's about self-discovery, reconnecting with your inner world.
And ultimately, like he says, this journey isn't about eating less, it's about living more.
Exactly. Living more fully.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit to something that often carries a lot of weight, no pun intended, in this area: failure.
Oh yeah, a loaded word.
Totally. But Hollis reframes it. He says, failure isn't the end, it's a message, a moment of feedback. And sometimes it's the most honest conversation you'll ever have with yourself.
That changes everything, doesn't it? How you look at setbacks.
Absolutely. So what does that mean practically if you have a setback or a relapse?
Well, first, don't see it as a moral failing. Hollis suggests thinking of it as the brain asking for the old familiar rhythm.
The brain just wanting what it knows.
Right. It's a signal, not a sign you're weak. And he gives a really important warning here, especially relevant now. Most people aren't failing semaglutide. They're failing to prepare for what comes after it.
Failing to prepare for the silence, for the truth beginning.
Failing to build the scaffolding, failing to develop the new narrative, failing to understand the emotional work needed.
So a breakdown or a slip-up isn't "I failed." It's more like, okay, where does my support need strengthening? Or what pattern just showed up?
Exactly. Look at it with curiosity, not judgment. Hollis also says, the shame isn't in failing. The shame is in pretending you were supposed to be perfect.
Permission to be human.
Permission to be human, yes. And that leads to the idea of grace.
Grace.
Yeah, responding to stumbles not with self-blame, but by reaching for better tools, for support, for understanding, learning, as he says, how to fail forward.
Fail forward. I like that. Using the stumble as data.
Exactly. Each misstep helps you adjust and strengthen your news story instead of making you abandon it.
So wrapping this deep dive up, what's the main takeaway from Dan Hollis's work here?
I think at its heart, it's this. Yeah, biology, medicine, diet, they can change your body.
But
Only story can change your future.
only story can change your future. Wow.
And if you connect all the dots, it means that if you don't do that narrative work, that psychological building, well, biology will give you results that psychology will dismantle.
So the outer changes won't stick without the inner ones.
They just can't long term. The
Hmm.
foundation isn't there.
Which leaves us and you listening with a question to maybe sit with. How might recognizing the deeper questions hiding behind your own cravings, and maybe they aren't just for food, right? Maybe for distraction or shopping or anything.
Anything, yeah.
How might seeing the question behind the craving unlock a new path for you towards clarity, maybe growth?
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Join us next time for another deep dive.